Hey guys, welcome back to another truck talk video. I wanted to comment on a video that I watched recently, from a larger channel, and it's from Katie Morton. I don't know if you guys have heard of her. She's a psychologist on YouTube, pretty large, over 900,000 subscribers. Has been featured by YouTube. She's been included in a bunch of stuff. So I mean, she's one of the really big mental health channels that doesn't really, I mean, she talks every once in a while about narcissism and NPD and borderline and stuff like that, but it's more of a broad approach. She's a therapist and, you know, leverages off her experience. But she's been making videos lately that, you know, she's being honest about how hard it is with her experience. And I think this is a weird time because in a lot of ways, everybody who's on this channel has already been going through a really hard time. And we've had to deal with loss and grief. And now we're in a situation where the rest of the world is dealing with things that, not necessarily on the same scale that we are, but they're dealing with things that they've never had to experience before on such a broad scale, and it's having an emotional impact. One of the things that struck me with this particular video that she did is, I mean, she's being brutally honest about her struggles with her own feelings with the pandemic, with being stuck at home, having to deal with it, the guilt of, you know, of things being bad but not being bad. And one of the reoccurring themes that she kept saying in her video, that she was trying to, you know, the underlying message that she was trying to put out there, is that it's okay to feel how you feel. And I've talked about that before, but I mean, I don't really get emotional on the channel. I'm not really necessarily a super emotional guy, although I will say that going through this experience made me a lot more emotional. I'm sure a lot of you let's say it this way, I'm sure a lot of men who are watching this channel, who are brought up to suck it up, hold the emotions in, whatever, have been going through and experiencing a range of emotions that you never experienced before. I'd be curious to see if that is the case, but I'll tell you that for me, in the beginning part of this, I was an emotional mess. I would watch a commercial and it would make me upset, make me cry even. There were a lot of things that would set me off. It was just weird how seeing somebody happy would set me off, seeing someone sad would set me off. Seeing somebody with their kids would set me off. Seeing somebody without their kids. I mean, it was like no matter what, it was a trigger point, and those emotions that I always had held out or held back would flood through. Now I know that, I mean, I'm a lot farther in this whole process, so maybe in a lot of ways, you know, even with this pandemic, I've been through so much, so maybe the impact isn't as great. But I know, even talking with Debbie, you know, being isolated by herself, not really able to interact with people. She's working from home. She does get to go out every once in a while for her job, but not very often. You know, she can't go see her kids. She can't really see me. I mean, we talk on the phone every day, and then we'll do, you know, physical distance meetups every once in a while. So I mean, it's just kind of a bizarre situation. And the way I'm trying to work with her on that is like, you know, hey, you know, things are just getting ready to change. A couple more weeks, you know, we can deal with a couple more weeks. That's in my mind. But getting back to this Katie's video, one of the things I thought was really interesting is, so she's really struggling with this whole thing. And, you know, her underlying message is it's okay to feel how you feel. And what struck me on this is that's the same that is true for our situation as well. And so often we can look at our situation and how we're feeling and try to gauge it with other people, and then we are even harder on ourselves because, you know, I'm weak. I'm not able to deal with it. I'm not, you know, I just need to suck it up. Why does this hurt so much? Why is this bothering me so much? And it's a weird balance because, and she talks about it in her video, and like I said, I'll link to it. So if you get a chance, I would watch it, and then let me know what you think about it, whether you thought it was, I mean, it might be out of context if you're not familiar with her work to see this video, but keep in mind, if you haven't watched her before, she is a licensed therapist in California, huge channel, like I said, 900,000 plus subscribers. You know, I mean, this is her business, is YouTube and the mental health community. And so you might miss, you know, if you're watching her, you might, in this one video, you might think, oh, wow, you know, this person's, you know, having an emotional breakdown. But the point is that it's important to feel the feelings that we have. You don't want it to consume you. But if you're feeling angry, bitter, stressed, depressed, it's all valid. And I mean, and you take the situation that a lot of the people are on this channel for. I mean, parental alienation, dealing with a toxic divorce, dealing with your life being ripped apart, and then you add on top of that a worldwide pandemic that is just. It's just so damn confusing. I mean, I think part of it, I mean, I deal with stress relatively well, kind of. You know, I made a couple of videos about my own issues, but this stuff is stressful. It's stressful. It's stressful to, you know, what do you do next? I mean, I'm in the mode right now to where it's like, okay, so I think we're at the point to where the kids can go and spend some time with their mom. Yesterday for Mother's Day, they did physical distancing in the driveway. There's a whole issue with that, just the way that played out, and maybe I'll make another video on that, just on how toxic, narcissistic people only think of themselves, because the ex, I'm not going to get too much into it, but instead of making it a fun time with the kids, made it a mess to try to coordinate when it was going to be, what they were going to do, wouldn't give them any information. When the kids threw out ideas, it was like, you know, I guess, you know, I mean, it was really weird. And then, as is typical, you know, when they finally went over there, it was all smiles and fine, but, you know, the 5 hours leading up to it was a train wreck. My point is that we're living into really weird times. You know, I'm confused. I mean, when can I go see, you know, Debbie and I have been talking, when can we actually meet up? When can we sit down and watch a movie, you know, watch a Netflix movie together? You know, we haven't really, I mean, we've gone distances, you know, when she lived up in Northern California, we obviously didn't get to see each other except for every couple of weeks for a weekend or something. You know, I mean, we're dealing okay with it. But, you know, you add all this stuff in, and it's all these different trigger points, I guess. I know people hate whenever you use the word triggering points, but I mean, it's real. So my point on this, no matter what stage you're on in this, it's okay to feel the way you feel. And it may take a while, so you don't necessarily need to feel like, you know, oh my God, I'm sad. I'm depressed because, you know, even though this relationship's a nightmare, I miss it. We're all going to miss it. And it's okay to feel those things. And it's not necessarily that you're going to feel that way forever, but you have to go through the process and feel what you feel. So it's a weird line, right? Because you can let yourself go completely down the pit of hell, get severely depressed, not be able to cope. And, you know, I mean, it's not necessarily healthy to be stuck in that mode because it just tends to spiral out of control. But at the same time, sometimes you have to allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. You have to work through those emotions. And I think now is even a harder time than any other time because, you know, even the stuff that people used to do. Like, I mean, when I used to get really, in the middle of this, when I would get really devastatingly depressed, and I remember there was a few times where it was really, I mean, I call those my dark days. I would even do stuff to where I would just get in the car, and I would drive to the coast. A couple hours away, I would go to Malibu, I would go to Santa Monica, whatever, and just sit and look at the ocean, watch the waves break. And a lot of the things that we used to be able to do aren't there. I mean, hell, one of the things I used to do a lot, part of my daily routine is just meeting up with a couple of guys from work in the morning for like a morning meeting. We'd go to Starbucks, we'd have a coffee, we'd sit around, we'd talk business, we'd talk personal stuff, and it was kind of the start of the day. And that whole experience for me was kind of like a calming thing. You'd go in, except for when it's really busy. I don't like a lot of crowds. But I mean, you go in, you got the smells and the aromas and the place, you know, the corner that you normally sit and all that kind of stuff. And it was calming for me. And I haven't been able to do that for 2 months. You know, we've adjusted. I mean, we now do virtual, you know, Zoom or FaceTime coffee morning meeting. We just along the same lines. We do FaceTime, which is weird because it's just weird. I think probably if I didn't do videos, it would even be more weird because I never really liked being on camera. But before all this, so my point is that however you're feeling through all of this, sad, angry, depressed, guilty, it's okay. Those emotions are okay. I mean, you want to make sure you're not doing anything destructive, you know. And she kind of in her video talks a little bit about that with her, how she's getting really frustrated. And the other thing I wanted to pivot on this is, you know, there's different personality types. If you watch her video, I mean, she says she's a very social person. She likes to interact with people. So, I mean, she's not really an introvert. I, on the other hand, I'm an introvert. I don't like groups of people. I'm not really into that whole thing. So, in a lot of ways, this current situation isn't too bad because it's, you know, it's kind of my comfort zone anyways. So my point on this is that all of us are different, right? So if I ever said anything to make you think that you know, hey, he can get you know, Duane's getting through it better. I hate when people talk about themselves in the third person, but you know, I'm getting through it better than you are. Well, if your personality traits are different, or your physical and emotional needs are a little bit different, like let's say you do need community, you do need to interact with people, and it's driving you crazy on this. To be perfectly honest, my son is that way. It's been driving him nuts not being able to go anywhere and being trapped. And he's compensating with it with Xbox, you know, basically doing games with people and interacting with them on that form, so he's able to communicate and have some normalcy there. So he's developed some new friends through that, you know, talking on the phone, texting, stuff like that. So I mean, it's, but again, I mean, it's like maybe that's not working for you, right? I mean, so, you know, you just, I often say in these experiences, it's okay to feel bitter, it's okay to feel angry, and I think even now it's even more true with everything that's going on, because there's just so much confusion. There's so much stress. People are angry. People are scared. People are financially, are even more financially ruined on this. You know, I think I bring in my coping mechanisms in dealing with this, I look at it the same way I've looked at with this whole experience that I've had. What I mean is that when I finally was able to make some progress, I'm like, okay, so this isn't forever. It's a long duration thing, right? The divorce and the alienation and the custody and all that stuff. So I bring that type of mentality into this. It's like, okay, you know, we're shut down. We're not able to go do things, but it's only temporary, right? Things are going to have to change. So it's not going to be this way forever. It's frustrating. I mean, I'll give you that, because there's things I want to do. I mean, there's things that I had planned to do from spring break into the summer, and it's completely just like on hold. I hope that makes sense. I hope the message I'm trying to say is getting out, or is making sense. And what I'm trying to say is, it's okay to feel however you're feeling, you know, and it's okay to process it. You don't have to feel like a failure. You don't have to feel that you're not a strong person. Even before this situation, what you were going through was a crappy situation. In a lot of ways, I think everybody on this channel probably has better skills to deal with this current situation because of everything we've been through. Curious what you guys think. I'm not going to keep rambling on this. I am going to leave, like I said, I'll leave a link to Katie Morton's video on that. Check her out. I'm curious what you think about it. And when you're watching it again, remember, she is a professional that's being vulnerable, which a lot of times therapists won't do, right? It's not really their thing to put themselves out there, because that's not really what they do. With her being a YouTuber, it's a little bit different. I hope you guys are doing okay. I just, man, we're these crazy times. All right. I'll take care of yourself. Hope you're doing okay. Let me know in the comments. And I'll talk to you on the next video. Take care.